against me.
Hello, welcome back to my very detailed tutorial to how to draw the skin and the makeup of your characters. So the first thing that I did is lower the opacity of the sketch, and I'm just looking at the skin tone that I have on my tablet, on my palette. And now I'm gonna start naming my layers. So the first layer is the skin, and I'm gonna name the second one. The second one is the highlight and contour. So after I do that, I'm just going to grab the script brush because it's a very thick and flat brush. It helps me to put down the colors quicker. So I'm going to stay on the skin layer. I'm just lowering the layer of the skin and the contour underneath the sketch so I can still be able to see the sketch on top. Now I'm just adding the first color, which is the skin. And I'm going to bring the opacity of the sketch just a little bit higher so I can be able to see it, because the color is on top of it. So I'm just adding the first color, which is the skin tone. Now once you're done adding the skin tone, you should have something looking like that. Now let's work on the highlights. You're going to drag your cursor up. That's your first highlight. You're going to drag it up one more time, and then you have your second highlight, and you're going to drag it up again for the third highlight, and then you're going to drag it once more for the fourth highlight. Now I want you to select your skin tone one more time and just put it down right there and name it skin tone. That's your main skin tone for your character. And now I want you to drag that cursor down. We need to get the contour color. Drag it down, but make sure you don't go on the gray side of the palette. Stay on the warmed side, okay? Because you don't want your character to be looking muddy. So make sure you are on the warmth side of your palette. If you have to add a little bit more red, do that. Just to make sure that the contour has a little bit of warmth into it and it's not like gray. If you do that, your character is gonna look muddy. So you're good. Now let's start putting down the highlights. I'm just gonna make my brush a little bit bigger. No, that's not big enough. I'm gonna make it bigger. And then I'm going to start adding the highlights. So I draw my girls like people used to do their makeup back in 2016. So I put down the circle on the forehead, and I do the little triangles on the cheek, underneath the eyes. And then I add a little bit on the chin, and then I do the nose. It's exactly how people used to do their makeup back in 2016. It's very simple. Now I'm adding the contour. A little bit on the forehead, on the cheeks. I also add a little bit on the nose to do the nose contour, and I add a little bit at the bottom of the nose as well to add a little bit of shadow because it's cool. And I make sure to emphasize the little button nose with a little bit of contouring as well. So now we're going to start blending. Now before you blend, select a soft brush for blending so your blending is smooth. And before you blend again, make sure you make sure the color that's selected is the skin tone. All right. The color that's selected right now should be the color of the skin tone. And now you can blend everything. Blend, 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 blend. The colors of the highlight and the contour should be blending easily because they are above the main skin tone. So they should blend into the skin tone. That's what creates that smooth blending that we're looking for. Now blend everything. Keep blending. I know it's a lot of blending, but it's going to look good. Keep blending, continue to blend. Alright, now you should be done with the blending. Now let's move on to the next step. Let's work on our second layer. We're going to add more highlights. Alright, so this is the second step, the second dose of highlights. The second dose, is that it? Can you even say that in English? I don't know. I speak French, y'all. This is like the second part of highlights. So I focus this highlights on the center of the face. So right near the eyes, a little bit on the forehead, a little bit on the nose, a little bit on the cupid's bow. Yeah, it's very cute. Now, when you're going to be blending this highlight, make sure you select the color of the highlight that you're blending right now. You see here, I select it, I grab my blending tool and I start blending. Don't blend it all the way in, just blend it lightly because we still want the colors to pop, especially the one that's near the eyes. We want to create that bright under eye look. So blend, but not too much, just lightly, just lightly. Because you still want that color to be popping, right? You don't want it to blend into the skin like the first highlight that we added. And you blend lightly. Make sure you're using a soft brush for blending, all right? Blend lightly. Take your time. You should not be rushing. If you want to draw a really pretty girl, don't rush with the blending. Softly blend everything. And continue to blend. You see how bright her under eyes are? I love it. And now we're gonna blend the nose. Lightly blend it because we still want the highlight to be popping. And you blend. You keep on blending, and that's enough. You don't want to blend it too much now. That's enough. I'm doing too much right now, but don't blend it too much. Just, we want the colors to be popping. We don't want the color to blend into the skin too much. Blend this just a little bit. I think we're gonna stop right there. All right, we're gonna do the chin, and that's it. And now we're gonna move on to the next step. We're gonna add a little bit more contour, all right? But this time I'm going for a darker shade of brown, darker than the original contour that we placed down before. And I want to make sure it's at the top of the cheeks, the top of the cheekbones, just to lift the face a little bit. And even when I'm going to be blending, I'm going to be blending upwards. And I want to add a little bit of that same dark brown near the nose. And when I'm going to be blending, I will connect it with the eyebrows. And I'm going to emphasize the cupid's bow. I want to emphasize the button nose with that same contour color. As you can see, I'm blending upwards. And the color that I selected to blend is the same color that I placed down for the second contour. All right? So blend upwards just to lift the face. And don't blend it too much like the first colors that we placed down. Don't blend it like we blended the first highlight and the first contour. Blend it just enough because we want the colors to still pop. And when you blend the contour of the nose, make sure you're blending upwards so you can connect it with the eyebrows. Perfect. Just like that. And we're going to blend the contour of the nose as well. Not too much because we want the cupid. Why do I keep saying cupid's bow? Because we want the button nose to pop. Yeah, just blend it just enough. I think that's about it. Okay, Esther, that's enough. Stop. Good. And we're going to grab that same color that we used for the contour, the first contour. We're going to start adding that on the lips. I like drawing two tones lips. This one is kind of a two-tone lip, but not really, but yeah. So I'm using that same brown to draw the lips of my character. So I'm just putting that brown down. The whole top lip should be all brown. So make sure everything is covered in brown for the top lips. And for the bottom lip, we're going to make sure that the center is not covered because we're going to add another color in the center, all right? So cover just around it. And then the center should be like empty. Now I'm going to drag my cursor up just to get a lighter color of the same brown, but just like a lighter shade of that. I'm going to place that in the center of the bottom lips. I'm going to cover the whole center of it. And then I am going to add a little bit of that same color on the top lip. Now to blend everything, I'm going to select the skin tone and then I'm going to blend. Because I want that to be blended into the main skin tone. So I want it to be super blended in. That's what I'm doing. Blend, 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 and we keep on blending and we blend. Don't blend too much on the top lip though. We want that brown to stay brown. We don't want to, we don't want to mix it with the lighter color. So make sure it's staying brown. Don't blend it too much. All right. So now I am going to add the white part in the middle of the lips. I'm going to use the same layer that I used for the eyes, or not. Actually, I created a new layer. Never mind. So I created a new layer. I'm just going to add that white part in the center of her mouth. I always do that for my characters. You don't have to. You can make it black or you can close her mouth completely, but I like adding the little white part. I think it's cute. So I just added that. And yeah, I think after this I'm going to do the lip liner. I'm going to select a dark brown and I'm going to work the lip liner. I like a very thick lip liner because it makes my cartoon's lips pop. So that's what I do. And I like the dark brown to be very dark as well. You can make it lighter if you want to. It's up to you. But for me, I like it to be very dark. And for the center of the mouth, hold on, not yet. Not yet. So I'm going to create a new layer and now I'm going to add the shiny part to make the lips glossy. So I always start with a circle or an oval shape, and then I do tiny little dots, tiny little lines, just a little bit of light, a little bit of shiny stuff, just to make the lips shiny. That's what I do. And I do the same thing at the top as well. Tiny little line, tiny little dots, just to make the lips look very glossy and shiny. That's what I do. Tiny little lines, just to make the lips shine. And I think that's all. And yeah, that's it. So now I'm going to work on the center of the mouth in a few seconds. I'm just going to create a new layer and I'm going to grab the color black. And I'm going to work on the center of the mouth now. I always make this part very dark. I use the color black for that. You can use dark brown, but I like going for black. And the lips are done. And now let's work a little bit more on the nose. So I'm adding a little bit of shadow, a little bit of contour to the nose, just because I want to define it a little bit more. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to add a little bit more on her button nose right there to really define it a little bit more again. And then I'm going to blend everything. Now to blend, I selected the same color that I placed down for, before to define it. I just placed that same color and I'm using that same color to blend. Because the color that you select when you're blending matters. You have to make sure you're selecting the right colors or else your illustration will look muddy. Especially if you're drawing black women, like darker skin tones, it's very easy to make your illustrations look muddy. Now I'm adding the nostrils. I'm using the color black for that. I always use black for that. And I'm selecting the third highlight. And I'm gonna make sure I'm using the same layer that I used to make the lips shiny. Because I don't like using I don't like using like 1,000 layers for an illustration. That's too much. So sometimes I reuse the same layer. So I'm just adding a little bit of highlight to the nose to really make it pop. Because I like black girls' nose to be popping. So I'm adding a little bit more highlight to the nose just to make it pop. Alright, now let's work on the eyes. I don't draw lashes anymore, guys. I created brushes that help me, and I don't need to spend hours drawing lashes anymore. So those are the lashes that I used in this video. I'm going to put the link in below. I'll put the link below so you guys can get it, because I'm not drawing the lashes in this video. No. I did not have time. So I'm just going to draw the eye. Yeah, I'm doing the circle part of the eye, and I'm just adding black. Yes, I draw my girls' eyes with black. I don't use dark brown or, light brown. I make them black. That's what I do. Now, she looks very surprised. Let's add a little bit of shadow to her eyes. Oh, actually, no, sorry. I'm doing the eyebrows right now. You start with tiny little strokes, like you're drawing hair. And then you can start making darker, bigger strokes after. But you want to create that fading effect. So you make a line at the bottom and you're going to make another line at the top as well. But after now at this point right now, you can start making big strokes and then you create another line at the top and you blend. Oh no, there's no blending, sorry. And then you keep doing those tiny little strokes. You keep doing those strokes and you continue and you keep going, and the darkest part of the eyebrow should be the tail. Before that, everything should be a little bit lighter, you know. The strokes shouldn't be that the strokes of your pencil should not be super harsh until you reach the tail of the eyebrow. And we're almost done, and you do the same thing on the other side. Tiny strokes, then bigger strokes, then you connect everything. This is very easy, the easy part. And you connect everything just like that. Okay. Alright, so I'm just erasing the extra stuff. Making sure everything is perfect because I'm a low-key perfectionist. Good. Okay, now I'm gonna add a little bit of brown on the waterline just to define her eyes a little bit. I don't draw the line all the way, like I don't cover the middle of the eye. I always leave that part empty. That part is always empty for me. And then now I'm gonna add the lashes. As you guys can see, I created a bunch of brushes for lashes. Like there's like stamps. I just stamped them on and I have the lashes already created. I made all of them, so it's like I'm the one that drew them because I don't have time to draw lashes all the time. So I just place it down and I use the flipping tool. So I flip it around to make sure it's in the right position. And I just, you know, fix it, adjust it to the size and the shape of the eye. I'm just adjusting it right here. And I'm going to use the warp tool. I'm going to grab that warp tool and I'm going to adjust the position of my lashes just like that to make sure it's placed properly. It's looking good. This makes my life so easy. Like, oh my god, drawing lashes takes too long. So I'm just adjusting the position and I'm going to make a duplicate of that lash to place it on the other eye. Don't worry, I will put the link of the lashes in the bio. So I'm just gonna grab that lash. I'm gonna go back to the uniform section of this tool and I'm just gonna drag it. I'm gonna flip it. I flipped it and now I'm placing it. And I'm just gonna adjust this one more time with the warp tool. There we go. Now it's looking great. As you guys can see, she's still looking very surprised. So I'm gonna add a little bit of shadow on top of that white part of the eye. I'm going to place it down. It's on the layer above the white part of the eye. So I'm just placing that down. I'm just placing that down. I lower the opacity and I do it on the other side as well. Paste that down. The opacity is already has been lowered. So that's why it looks like it's gray, but it's black. So I'm just going to bring the opacity up just a little bit. Okay, now it's perfect. I like that. Now let's add a little bit of shine to the eyes. I love this part. It's my favorite part. It's like it brings her to life. Alright, so let's add that. And just like that, one big circle, one tiny circle. Same thing on the other side. One big circle, one tiny circle. And another thing that I love doing when I draw eyes is adding a little line right before the waterline. Just a little white line. It makes the eyes pop. Try it out. Okay, now we're going to go back to our highlight colors. And I'm just going to add a little bit of highlight on the brow bone to make the eyebrows pop even more. Yeah, that part, I'm going to make it thicker. Start with a tiny line, but when you get to the tail of the brow, make that part thicker. And then we're going to blend a little bit. Make sure the same color you're using is the color that's selected. And blend just a little bit. Lightly blend it in. You don't want to blend it in too much because I still want it to pop. because I want the eyebrows to be popping. Because keep in mind that I draw like a makeup artist back in 2016. So yeah, I'm just doing the same thing on the other side. Blend it just a little bit. Good. Good. All right. Okay. Cool. So we're almost done. I promise we're almost done. So now I'm just going to go back to the highlights again. I'm going to grab the fourth highlight and I'm going to focus that one in the inner corner of the eyes to make the eyes really pop. I love this part. And I'm just going to blend it in after this. I'm going to blend it in just a little bit. Just to lightly blend it in just a little bit. So it doesn't look super harsh. So it blends in with the whole makeup. Perfect. We're almost there. Almost there, I promised. I hope you guys are having fun though. So another layer on top of everything, I'm going to go for a burnt orange, almost red type of color for her blush. I love using this type of color for my brown skin girls. It makes them look so gorgeous, so pretty. It adds just the right amount of warmth to the face. I love it. So I'm going to grab that color and I'm going to use a soft brush. I want to make my brush really big so I can just dab and it's adding colors. Beautiful. You see? The blush is not too much, just enough. It's perfect. I love it. Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. All right, so now I'm just gonna add my beauty marks. I love adding beauty marks to my illustration. You don't have to do this part, but this is just my final touches that I do when I do illustrations. Yeah, just a few beauty marks here and there. And then the final touch, final touch, I will change my layer mode to overlay. Okay, I change it to overlay and I create a new layer at the top of everything, and I'm gonna go all the way to white, get the color white, and I'm gonna start making the highlights really pop with this brush right now. Look at this. Boom. Look at this. Look. Wow. The brightness. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Wow. It's beautiful. I'm gonna add a little bit on the nose. Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. So pretty. It's perfect. And I do the same thing on the Cupid's bow, a little bit on the lips to make them even more shinier. And at this point, we are done. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial and try it out. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!